One day I was walking down the street and somebody on the street said to me, "There's a real problem with the feral cats on Percy Street." And I said, "What?" And they said, "Well, there's like 15 cats and they're all wild." And I thought, oh my God.
Well, across the street in the alleyway, there was a garage there. And my sisters came across a colony of cats. So I went to go see and bring some food. And then kind of occurs to you that, well, I'm sure they're hungry again today. So you feed again, and then next thing you're there every day because you figure, well, I guess they're hungry every day. So, and then once you get sort of started, you just can't walk away from it. Buddy. I'm sure some people probably have that misunderstanding, thinking me bringing food here, I'm attracting the cats, but that's not the case. The cats are here. Whether they're here being fed or whether they're here being hungry, they're going to be here.
All these cats in the backyard, and I realized everybody was feeding them. Like there's some people, there's a park, a community park at the end of the street, but nobody was thinking about what to do about them. And I had a feral cat at my other house that I took to the cat hospital. I had spent $500 to fix my feral cat. And I thought, oh my God, 12 feral cats or 15, what are we going to do? One of my neighbors phoned the Toronto cat rescue people and asked, what options do we have to help these cats? And they said, well, there's a new trap, neuter, release program at the Toronto Humane Society. And they said, well, all you have to do is trap the cats, bring them to Humane Society, and they'll fix them for free. And I went, for free? Are you kidding me?
Trap, neuter, return, or TNR, is widely recognized as the most humane and effective solution to Toronto's homeless cat problem. Homeless cats are trapped, taken to a clinic to be spayed or neutered, and returned back to the same location. Although this reactive solution doesn't get homeless cats off the streets, it does prevent a single homeless cat from multiplying into hundreds.
Having an employee go out and trap the cats, bringing the cats into the shelter, they have a mandatory 5-day stay period where you've got to hold them, you've got to feed them. Then if you're euthanizing at the end of it, disposing of the body, that's actually a lot more expensive than doing trap, neuter, return, where you've got your volunteer colony caretakers doing the trapping portion of it. You're just spending the money on the spay neuter. They're taking care of the cats afterwards.
It's also helping the burden that comes upon the shelters and the rescues and the animal services, and it's helping them in terms of their intake. So there's less strays coming in because there's less litters born. Therefore, you can help the kittens that are already alive. The idea is that you get to a population size which is putting much less pressure on the shelters, on the other animals out there. There's less competition for homes.
According to statistics published by the Canadian Federation of Humane Societies, 42,000 cats were euthanized in 2010 alone. That represents 46% of all cats admitted to shelters in 2010. The goal of TNR is to provide a more humane and cost-effective alternative. However, local authorities and animal welfare services lack the resources required to make it happen. As a result, a small but dedicated grassroots volunteer movement has stepped in to fill the void.
Come on, guys.
A year ago, Callie began feeding the 15 feral cats living in her backyard. She is now one of a growing number of volunteer cat colony caretakers. While nobody really knows the total number of cat colonies in Toronto, there are currently 142 registered with the Toronto Feral Cat Coalition. Each colony ranges in size from 2 cats to as many as 50.
In the morning, and my husband says, it's so weird, they come to you, but if he calls them, they don't come. So it's like they recognize me. They know the person who feeds them. It's kind of a neat thing, and it's really about how relationships are tenuous, but they grow slowly with a lot of love. Like you have to be consistent, show up, all those things that every relationship needs, right? It's the same thing with the cats.
Volunteers don't just feed the cats. They also build shelters to provide protection from Toronto's harsh winter weather.
But we go to the garage at the Humane Society, and there's like 40 volunteers all making shelters. And then I almost start crying again. Oh my God, there are these people who are doing this. It's like underground activity, right? Like there's this whole underground initiative in Toronto to cure the 100,000 feral cat problem.
These volunteers are working on one aspect of our trap, neuter, and return program, and that is the building of shelters, mostly overwinter shelters for feral cats. One person will cut out parts of the styrofoam, someone else will cut holes, someone else will cut the lengths of corrugated pipe for the tunnels. We cut a hole in the side, put a tunnel in so the cats have an entry point. That styrofoam has a foil insulation, and that foil reflects the body heat back onto the animals. Then we cover the lid, put the plastic lid on top, and we have notes which identify what the shelter is for.
Volunteers also participate in trap, neuter, return initiatives. Remember the estimated 500 cats in Regent Park?
Come on, darlings. Come on, baby. Come on. Come on, darlings. Come on, darling. Come on.
Baby Bob is the one-year-old offspring of one of the feral cats in Callie's colony. With some help from her friend Earl, today Callie will attempt to trap Baby Bob and transport him to the spay-neuter clinic.
Is you open the trap, and it's spring-loaded. And there's a little bar in here that makes that thing go up in the back. You put the food behind, way back there, way back. And when the animal steps on the trap in the back, this happens.
After several attempts, Baby Bob is finally caged and ready to go.
Whoa. Relax, honey. It's okay. It's okay.
Free spay-neuter clinics are held twice monthly at the Toronto Humane Society, with services provided by a team of dedicated volunteers. Over a 19-month period starting in September of 2010, the clinic has TNR'd over 1,000 stray and feral cats.
Yeah, they're doing a little differently, so just fill out one of these forms per cat.
Okay, I just have one today.
Okay, so just fill out that one form, and then there's the
I brought in 3 cats today, kittens actually. I had some cats hanging out in my backyard all summer long. Tried to find them homes, wasn't able to. So a couple of months later, they're a little bit more full grown, and kind of worried that they just might multiply, and came across this service. I think it's excellent. I think it's a great service. So I brought in 3 cats today, and hopefully they can stay in my backyard a little longer, a little bit more stress-free.
I just brought Baby Bob in, and I signed him in to the TNR for this evening, and we brought him in at 5 o'clock. It's a little trudge over, and it's not much to sign him in, and he's right over there waiting for his turn to be TNR'd, and he'll be ready in about 3-4 hours, and I'm going to come pick him up when he's done. It should be about 9 o'clock. In about 48 hours to 72 hours, depends on how he's feeling. he'll be able to go back and be re-released to his community in the backyard where we started this whole thing.
Toronto is not the only city to realize the benefits of TNR. Many other major cities in North America have faced the same overpopulation challenges and implemented similar TNR programs in response.
New York City's initiative, and something that they've recently done, is rather than put a ton of money into building new shelters, like there's a lot of areas that could have had new shelters built, they opted not to build shelters, because you build a shelter, it's full, you know, the next week, and then what do? Instead, they put their money into TNR campaigns and low-cost spay-neuter campaigns for low-income people. The best use of tax dollars to actually help animals and prevent them from coming into the shelter.
Trap, neuter, return has proven to be the most effective reactive solution. But faced with over 100,000 homeless cats, are the heroic efforts of a small group of volunteers enough to solve Toronto's feral cat problem? Or is this simply a drop in the bucket?
We're making the difference because every colony that we take on, we're TNRing the entire colony. We're ensuring there's a caretaker there, that any new animals that come in that are intact are then spayed and neutered. So for that particular colony, there's no kittens born the next year. So yeah, it's a drop in the bucket, but also it's making a difference for that particular area. So TNR programs, you're not going to make a difference if you're just randomly spay and neutering a cat from here and there and there. You're not effective, because whoever's left breeding is then just they're gonna reach capacity, all their animals survive. And
you got to start somewhere. So you got to pick a place to start, and then you have to just start going. And you know, eventually, in 5 years from now, 10 years from now, even as Hannah said, like in 1 year from now, that colony caretaker, that one colony caretaker is going to see a difference. And to those cats, it's going to be a difference. And so, like, to those cats, they're going to have a better livelihood, and there's going to be less animals that are suffering on the street because they're not reproducing and they're just able to enjoy a life without the burden of reproduction.
2 days have passed, and baby Bob is ready to be released back into the colony. He's been neutered, vaccinated, and ear-tipped. Bob's chances of living a healthy and happy life have increased dramatically as a result.